I think we discussed the things that come under the list of arts. What are they? Fine arts. Fine arts means painting, architecture, sculpture. The rest are dance, drama, music, literature. And dance, drama and literature is the same. Dance, drama, music. These are the other three. Fine arts is visual arts, painting, architecture, sculpture. And the last one is movies. Now your job is to give examples of how movies, the painting, the literature, the music, the dance are effective in revealing not only to us, to outsiders about who want to know about our culture, the hidden impulses. Because there are many things that the movies convey, the painting, drama, blah blah blah, everything conveys. Because language very often fails to communicate certain things. Words are impotent to convey certain feelings. So it is best conveyed through the means of art. Is that idea understood? Can we write on that? Yes? So you can write about, paintings and maybe some kind of music. You see, music sometimes even if you do not understand, it has some influence on your feelings. It is not the words that is important in the music. It is the emotional tone of that music that influences you. You don't have to know Latin to understand opera. You don't have to know the language to understand virtually any music of any country, any civilization, any culture. Is that right? Yes, no? That's exactly what you are going to do. Mention those examples. Okay? And then you have art, kish, populist art, lousy art, which is abstract art of some kinds, is also does not convey modern art or abstract art. Does not really convey anything. Some people praise it, but most people don't understand it. I mean, it's not necessary that people should understand art in order that art should have value. That is another issue. There is another GRE issue which goes like this. In order for art to have any merit, it should be understood by most of the people. That is another issue in the GRE AWA. In order that art to have any merit, it should be understood by most of the people. Our position is again very simple. This is art. These are the functions of art. We discussed the functions of art, did we? Yes, no? Edify, E-D-I-F-Y. Morally uplift. Uplift morally, educate morally, A-E-D-I-F-Y. And then develop aesthetic qualities, sense of beauty, intellectual refinement, spread of knowledge, reform society, eliminate superstition, entertainment, the whole list of things you can write for art. These are the functions of art. Now again, art can be classified into high art and low art. High art is art which requires some training. You cannot appreciate classical music, Indian or Western, without having some understanding of the principles involved. Popular art, popular music, disco, rock and roll, pop, they don't have any complexity. Any person can understand that. Now these people who understand and relish popular music, they may consider that art as incomprehensible, and they may not, really understand why people are praising that art. Nevertheless, it has its own value. That's the reason it's called classical music or classical art, right? So you write, and if you are faced with this issue, even movies, you have many classical blockbusters, classical Hollywood classics, Sound of Music, Mary Poppins. If you take your modern day classics, Matrix is a modern day classic, and you have many other such movies which you can name. Okay? So, some movies are very complex and may not be understood by ordinary people. For example, Citizen Kane, if you have heard of the movie Citizen Kane. Citizen, Citizen Kane, Kane. In the last 100 years of Hollywood movie production, Citizen Kane has been nominated by many forums, American Film Institute, and so many forums across the world have nominated Citizen Kane as the best movie ever. But if you watch that movie, you will have a difficulty understanding why this movie was made. I still don't understand why it is being made. Citizen Kane. Well, there are other movies. For example, 12 Angry Men, I was talking about it. I tell you about 12 Angry Men. 12 Angry Men is a movie which I have downloaded. It is there in my system in the office. You can take a CD and make a copy of that. It's not available in the market. In the last 100 years, this movie and even today, it is used in corporate training. We are talking about training senior executives, managers, leaders, and this movie was shot in a single room. This movie is rated variously as 25th, 35th by different organizations worldwide who are rating movies. So this movie is rated down in the line, 25th in the last 100 years. But I feel that it's an excellent movie, extraordinary movie. The message is wonderful. It is very thought-provoking. In fact, the movie is very simple. It was shot in a single room, and it is about a jury, Jury. Jury is a group of judges selected by the judge to deliberate on a court case and advise the judge. Now, the theme in this movie is, it is not clearly, explicitly explained, but the theme is, there is a person who is accused of a murder, and we will understand as we follow the conversation that the person must be influence అవుతాడు. వాడిని ఎలాగా the hero of the movie, obviously there is one person, all the 12 persons at the beginning of the movie, 11 people say yes, he is guilty for various reasons. One fellow has a racist prejudice, everyone has his own thinking. And the hero, the protagonist of the movie, Henry Fonda, is the fellow who opposes the whole thing, and the entire movie for maybe 2.5 hours or maybe more, I think 2.5 hours, this fellow goes through the process of convincing all of them, and at the end of the movie everyone says, well, we are not sure, and therefore not guilty pronounced చేస్తారు. స్టార్టింగ్ లో 11 మంది గిల్టీ అంటారు, ఆఖరి మూవీ వచ్చేసరికి the climax is not guilty అందరు ఇస్తారు, and the case is over. That's a beautiful movie, and the entire conversation makes you realize that we are similar to most of the people in that, and every fellow sitting in that hall represents a kind of thinking which is found in most of us. So that is the reason this movie is an excellent movie. Right? It probes how groups arrive at decisions. What are the factors? How do our prejudices really influence our thinking? Chala wonderful movie. So there you are, you can give some examples of great movies with some very complex themes which are not understood by the common man, nevertheless they are great. Get the point here? That is that issue we have dealt with. Kish or popular art. Did we use the word KITSCH? Popular art, cheap art, remix and all that pastiche. Pastiche and a remix. PASTICHE. Pastiche is a GRE word which means remix. Which means you take things from here and there, put them together. Okay. So this issue which I just concluded is, the issue is, in order for art to have great value, it must be understood by most people అంటాడు. మనం ఏమంటాం? That's not necessary. For art to have value, it must fulfill the functions of art. That should be the criteria of judging whether art has value. You get the point here? Not whether people understand or do not understand. That is secondary. Primary concern of judging whether any form of art is valuable or not is whether it fulfills the stated functions of art. What are the stated functions? Edify, intellectual development, aesthetic development, reform of society, awareness creation, entertainment, and all that, right? Analyzing feelings and blah blah blah. So that is what you do. Here this issue is slightly different. What is it talking about? Reveal the otherwise hidden impulses. Well, I was discussing a number of things. This is some painting anyway. Now, the point here is, point number 1, it reveals hidden impulses. How will you argue that? You will say, language fails to convey feelings appropriately. There are many feelings which are so complex that words are inefficient or insufficient to convey the feeling. Therefore, art is a better means. Then you talk about all the paintings and movies and opera and drama and all that, right? Then also, besides that, if you want to understand any culture, in order, we talk about culture, did we? There are many issues on culture. There are 3 points I think I told you. Mentifacts, socio-facts, artifacts. No, please make it. I just want you to remember these 3 words because when there are a lot of issues on culture, civilization, art, మీద చాలా ఉన్నాయి. Culture అంటే culture is the general way of life of a people. That's the simplest definition you can give. The general way of life of a people. అంటే I'm talking about a group of people. Now, in general, the word culture encompasses everything that is done in a society. Our professions, for example, if you talk about Indian culture, our dress, our food, our religions, our belief systems, our professions, our hobbies, our movies, virtually everything under India, under the Indian banner or in India is Indian culture. That's what it means. That's what culture is all about. So, well, theoretically speaking, culture can be classified for study under 3 groups. Mentifacts, mentifacts. Mentifacts, which means mental facts actually. Mentifacts are belief systems, values, beliefs and values. Values అంటే ఏంటి? వర్చ్యూస్ వస్తాయి. వర్చ్యూస్ పెద్ద లిస్ట్ డిస్కస్ చేసాం. Virtually every religion holds those virtues in high regard. Okay. Mentifacts అంటే beliefs and values. తర్వాత socio-facts అంటే ఇక్కడ beliefs and values కింద religion అన్ని వచ్చేస్తాయి. Socio-facts, which means the formal and informal institutions of a society. The formal and informal institutions of a society. Formal institutions అంటే government machinery. Formal institution, the word institution has 3 meanings. Did we discuss the word institution earlier? No. Institution means a custom. A custom. The family is a social institution. Marriage, social institution. Money, a social institution. Paisa, that is a social institution. Ganesh Chaturthi, Diwali, Christmas, these are all social institutions. All festivals, all ceremonies, all activities, customs, traditions which are handed down over the years, they are called institutions. Get this very clearly. The other meaning which is already known to us, organization. Institution means an organization. It can simply also mean a building, housing that organization. So, ఇక్కడ సోషియో ఫ్యాక్ట్స్ కింద ఫార్మల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ అన్నాను, ఇన్ఫార్మల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ అన్నాను. ఫార్మల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ అంటే ది గవర్నమెంట్ సెటప్, ద గవర్నమెంట్ మెషిన్, ది అసెంబ్లీ, the parliament, the high court, the supreme court, the police station, all the secretariat. This is called the formal institutions of any society. In America, they call them Capitol, Capitol. Capitol means the legislature buildings of American society. In America, the White House is called Capitol. All legislature buildings are called Capitol. Adi formal institution. Informal institution అంటే ఇందాక డిస్కస్ చేసాం. ఏమిటి? కస్టమ్స్ అవన్నీ informal institutions. So, and the third one is, what is the third word I said? Artifacts. Artifacts. Artifacts అంటే objects of art created by man. That means art అంతా వచ్చేస్తుంది. ఏది? పెయింటింగ్, మ్యూజిక్, డాన్స్, డ్రామా, ఈ అంత పెద్ద లిస్ట్ తెచ్చాడు. కల్చర్ అని వాడు ఇష్యూ అడిగాడా, యూ స్టార్ట్. ఈ మెంటీ ఫ్యాక్ట్, సోషియో ఫ్యాక్ట్, ఆర్టీ ఫ్యాక్ట్ అనేది 3 చిన్న అస్త్రాలు పట్టుకొని, మెంటీ ఫ్యాక్ట్ అంటే బిలీఫ్స్, వాల్యూస్, సోషియో ఫ్యాక్ట్ అంటే ఫార్మల్ ఇన్ఫార్మల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్, ఆర్టీ ఫ్యాక్ట్ అనగానే అన్నీ వచ్చేస్తాయి. పెయింటింగ్, మ్యూజిక్, డాన్స్, డ్రామా, ఆల్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్ట్ క్రియేటెడ్ బై మ్యాన్ come under artifacts. So if you want to understand any culture, you must observe all these things. You must study all these things. You cannot understand a culture simply by listening to the language of that culture. You got to make a complete survey. So ఇక్కడ ఇందాక ఈ ఇష్యూ మళ్ళీ వస్తున్నాను. ఈ ఇష్యూలో ఏమన్నాము, మీరు ఏమన్నాడు, హిడెన్ ఇంపల్సెస్ తెలుసుకోవచ్చు. పాయింట్ నెంబర్ 1, హిడెన్ ఇంపల్సెస్ ఎలా తెలుసుకోవచ్చు అంటే, ఎందుకంటే లాంగ్వేజ్ పనికిరాదు బాబు, ఎన్నో విషయాలు మనం చెప్పలేము, వర్డ్స్ సరిపోవు, అందుకని పెయింటింగ్ చేస్తే వాడికి ఇంకా చక్కగా అర్థమవుతుంది. డ్యాన్స్లో మన ఫీలింగ్స్, కాంప్లెక్సిటీ ఇంకా తొందరగా వాడికి అర్థమవుతుంది. భరతనాట్యం, కూచిపూడి, సో మెనీ డాన్సెస్ ఆర్ దేర్, వెస్టర్న్ డాన్సెస్ ఆర్ దేర్. సో ఈచ్ కల్చర్ హ్యాస్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్ డాన్స్ త్రూ విచ్ ఫీలింగ్స్ ఆర్ కన్వేడ్ మచ్ మోర్ ఇఫెక్టివ్లీ దెన్ బై మియర్ వర్డ్స్. యు గెట్ ద పాయింట్? అది పాయింట్ మీరు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయాలి. ఆ తర్వాత ఇంకోటి ఏంటి, hidden impulses. Say, to truly understand a culture, if you simply study, the language of that culture, that is not sufficient. There might be many hidden impulses which may not be obvious to you. And if you want to truly understand that culture, you must study that 25, social fact and artifact. Therefore, again, art reveals the hidden impulses by the art, by the symbols. You see, if you see some cultures, every culture, semiotics is a subject connected with the study of culture. Semiotics. Semiotics means study of symbols. Semiotics is study of symbols. So, if you say, take some primitive cultures, let us take Aztec culture. Have you seen that movie, Mel Gibson's latest movie? The last movie Mel Gibson produced was Apocalypse. Apocalypse. That movie is about the Aztec civilization. Aztecs was a civilization very ancient, somewhere in South America maybe. Yeah, they gave human sacrifices also. They made huge pyramids and it was a well-developed civilization. Nevertheless, if you observe their whatever artifacts that they left behind, it was a violent society. It was a primitive society. Technologically they were very advanced, but mentally they were very primitive. So if you take current world cultures, Eastern cultures are called Oriental cultures, Occidental, Western cultures. You will find that the symbols are different, the art forms are different. From the art you can make out that Eastern cultures are mostly spiritual, Western cultures are mostly materialistic. That is the hidden impulse. They may not openly say it. They will pretend that they are spiritualistic, but when you see their art, when you see all the rest of those things in art, you will find that this is a society driven more by material pursuits. Whereas most of our paintings, Eastern, you will find the paintings, art, music, mostly they deal with emotions. Our movies are full of melodrama. So basically we are very sentimental people, emotional people. Our hearts dominate our heads. That's typical of our culture. And all our music and everything else, either it has emotional content or it has religious content. Thousands of CDs on this bhajan, that bhajan, lot of bhajan, too much religion but everyone is corrupt. So it is a complex mix of hypocrisy. So you see, whereas you see their music, it is different. So from that you can make up. These people might pretend that we are nice people, we are great people, our philosophy, our culture is rich.